Hi everyone, my name is Ashley Hamlet. I'm here to talk about blended instruction, and it's a pretty new up-and-coming idea, but I think it's where a lot of education is heading towards, and the benefits are huge if you take the time to figure out how to work it into your current curriculum. And there's a lot of tricks you have to learn with online. Humorous side point, I actually made a flip chart to talk about all the points and then realized, oh, my mirror of my camera shows it backwards. So there are things that you have to overcome with technology and teaching, but I'm just going to talk about briefly why I think it's worth it. So what is blended learning anyway? What is this blended instruction? There's a lot of talk out there, and it can be kind of complicated to think about, but I define it as where online learning collaborates with traditional brick-and-mortar classroom to create more efficient, invested, and successful students, and an output of information as well. I.e. efficient teaching, yay! That's what we're all going for, and there's a lot of things that can throw that off in the classroom when you're trying to teach children that have all these different needs. Some of them are very needy just for your attention in general. There's always something that's trying to distract or throw off the information you're trying to help students achieve. And so the idea of this online meeting the traditional is you can somewhat get rid of a lot of that. So the difference, though, that a lot of people have to realize between blended instruction and online teaching is that you can keep the benefits of the traditional brick-and-mortar classroom where there's a teacher physically present, as well as have all the benefits for online learning. So one of those benefits for online learning that you can introduce with this blended instruction is students can self-pace their instruction. They can own their instruction a little easier. They can take it home or wherever they have access to a computer and internet. They can relearn, and so there's a lot of benefits for online teaching that you can bring into this blended instruction. And also it can be organized, attainable, and reusable. So those I think are the benefits of online. And then the benefits of traditional, you have your teachers available to help, and you have that group interaction, which is very important as they learn to bring it to a real world scenario, and they learn to harness their people skills. And so my equation, that again is backwards, is online plus traditional, the combination of that, which is the blended instruction, means everybody can be happy, but again it's backwards, so it makes it more fun to see those challenges in a real life way. So I'm being kind of real and candid, which is I think another benefit of online teaching. You can really work your curriculum and be fun with it. You can have fun costumes and disguises. You can come up with all these video interactions that you have much more time to do and time to perfect as you bring it to the online world. So I just want to go over with you some of the models of blended instruction. There's the rotation model, which is where students rotate on a fixed schedule between learning online and off. And there's also the flex model, where students receive most curriculum online in a supervised brick-and-mortar setting. So, you would see students, mostly at the computer and doing their thing, and then the teacher would be there to supervise and help. Then there's the self-blend. Anytime students take one or more courses entirely online to supplement their traditional courses would be an example of self-blend. For example, a student might need an advanced algebra course that the school doesn't have to offer, but if they're supportive of this blended instruction, the school is supportive of that, they can find a way for him to seek that instruction online and still give him time to do that coursework in the computer lab. Let's see. And then finally, the fourth model that they're working through as they're researching these various models of blended instruction is the remote, which means students will receive most of the curricula online and learn some of the time on campus and some of the time off campus. So it might say Wednesdays off campus, which would mean they would do all of their work online at home on the computer, and Thursdays they would meet in the classroom, and they would find some type of schedule where it's remote satellite, where some of the students are meeting some of the time off campus and some of the time on. And then finally, in the rotation model, there are also 3 other types that you would consider. So if a student is rotating on a fixed schedule, you could have them decide to have some of the time online, some of the time being shared with the professor actually, or the teacher giving instruction, and then some of the time possibly doing group projects, and that would be on a fixed schedule, regular basis. There's a lot of different ways you could approach it, and that's kind of a nice thing. But as your school or yourself might be thinking about the benefits of working towards this blended instruction, I want to talk over some of the benefits that I find appealing. A huge benefit of blended instruction for me is that it's easier for students to access information out of the classroom if they're sick or needing to go over it again or see it again. And if you're setting up your curriculum where you're actually having all the information accessible through a website, there's really just a lot of power given to the students to fully harness that information and go over it again. If it happens in class and someone's talking to them, they might miss a very crucial part, and they might even not know how to ask how to learn it over again. But if you're including that information online, they can simply go back and look over it again. So I think that's a very big benefit. It really empowers the students and the teacher to harness all that they need to better successfully learn what they're trying to acquire. Another benefit that I think is pretty big is, again, it can be self-paced. So students who need to go over it, maybe they're not very good at math, as I was not very good at math, art teacher. So it would have been a huge benefit for me to be able to go over again and again, a certain problem that I found really challenging, and as well as being able to access it when they're sick or needing to see it again. If there's really struggling with a certain subject matter, it can be self-paced in that way. Another benefit is that you can possibly get rid of snow days, with more and more schools coming up with ways to give students computers who need them, or maybe the students are able to have the computers mostly anyway. Then you won't need to have really snow days, because they could do a lot of the schoolwork online at home. And so it's kind of sad, bittersweet, but then you just think of all those summer days that you save and the money that the school district can save. And then another benefit that I thought of, or that it allows teachers for more individual help. And if students are going through the instruction and they still don't understand, but they've seen the video, and you've monitored that they're actually listening to it and viewing it, you can have a lot more time to interact with those students that need help, because you have that freedom, especially in subject matter like art, where students can start a project and finish it slightly different times. Then you have the ability to be more flexible. And then finally, I thought a big benefit of the blended instruction was, if you're like me, it allows for students to have a more self-directed learning. So you can, for example, teaching art, I like to cover many different cultures with one lesson such as masks and that information that you can learn about masks and you know, or possibly learning about history of working with painting and oil paints. You know, there can be a wide exploring that the student selects themselves to go more in depth with, and then they can present it to each other and learn collaboratively easier, as well as delve into things that interest them, so they're kind of harnessing and owning their own education. And let's see, any teacher and subject matter can benefit from blended teaching and instruction. So blended instruction you can use with really any subject matter. I mean, consider the art teacher. There's so many materials out there, how you would think that that would be very complicated, but the more I thought about this, I thought, you know, there's so much room for opportunity. And so, you know, as you're thinking as a school or a teacher, how can I really use this? Just consider the benefits of students being able to go over what you're teaching, having many various videos and lessons available at their fingertips, and then as a collaborative, even for music class, you could have that time where the students are learning about a music era, and then voting and selecting together as a class once they've listened to a piece themselves or a selection of pieces. Voting together as a class what piece you would perform, you know, how much more powerful that can be, and maybe having certain songs that they all listen to, and then having history that they all can delve into and then explore together as they reteach it. Because I think one of the best ways to learn is to have to teach it. So it really is a very easy tool to manipulate in that way, where they're owning their learning and they're learning to teach each other. Here's a diagram of how I would set up my art classroom using this blended instruction. And if you see here, there's, the writing is backwards of course, but here are my workstation desks, teacher's desk, computer desk, all of my art materials, and I would make room along the back wall to have wall-mounted iPod zone. So there would be about 11 stools and iPads mounted to the wall, where they could, as they finish their first exploratory project that they select of talking about who they are, and it gives them different start times so that the students can rotate through to the next assignment. And so even with something with limited space and something like art where there's a lot of materials taking up the classroom space, you can do something really powerful with blended instruction and figure out how to work it in, and just think about how your classroom can incorporate that. In art there's water, but you know, with wall-mounted iPads you find a way to make it safe and fluid for the classroom. So you're really reworking the whole curriculum to make it more of an organic, self-paced thing, but organizing the lessons so that every lesson has something that students can choose to do. And let's see, there are some other points that I wanted to talk about really quickly. You know, as an art teacher, figuring out how to wrap your mind around that. I think that the first project should be self-paced, something that they finish at different times. And then as they finish their selected topic, they would go on, and out of the next unit or medium you want them to work with, so that all the mediums would be the same, you would have certain topics within that unit or within that subject matter that you wanted to teach that they could delve more into, and make each unique, make each of their projects, they could select a certain project and have you demonstrate how to go about that, and then further go into exactly all the different types that they would choose and what they could select. So that's how I see the art world coming into online learning, this exciting topic of letting students harness and move through, and even introduces them more to technology. So there are a lot of benefits, but with something even as tricky as art, there are ways you can think about doing that. So finally, what I wrote backwards again, because I should have wrote backwards. My happy ending, and maybe yours, is blended instruction, and I think that this will also give students the chance to be invested in their education outside of the classroom. You know, something like art, they can really delve into what interests them, and they can have all of these links that you can provide that are interesting to them, that they can then bring back to their peers, and so there can be that collaborative process, as well as the whole instruction, where you're fixing a unit that they learn a little bit about what you want them all to learn about, and then each of them can learn even further and teach each other. So it probably won't work to show you the link. That's one of the things that I have to overcome as I'm learning to work online. But how do I show something that's on the screen through the camera so I don't have to try to write it backwards, but I can just show you the beginning part where you can search into further to learn more about blended instruction. I would go to the people who are investigating it, which is InnosightInstitute.org, and you could look for the PDF file, The Rise of K-12 Blended Learning, which is a PDF file. So hopefully you're learning as much as I am. I am really excited to go forward in this journey, and good luck on your investigation, and I will hope to give you more information as I continue mine. Thanks.